Let's look at an example of solving a literal equation, an equation that contains more than one variable. C equals 2 pi r. We're going to solve for r. C is a variable, but so is r. Pi is not. Pi is a number. So I'm going to write that equation, C equals 2 pi r, and going to try and get r alone. What's with r is 2 and pi. The way that 2 and pi is with the r is through multiplication. So I can multiply, since it's multiplication, both sides by the reciprocal, 2 over pi. And I do this so that I can reduce and get rid of the things that were with r. So now we have c divided by 2 pi is equal to r. And r is alone, so we're done with that problem. Let's look at this next equation. P is equal to r minus c over n, and we're going to solve for c. That means we need to get c alone. There are two things with c, both r and n. We're going to have to get rid of the n first, because it's the furthest thing in the order of operations from c. So I'm going to rewrite the equation so that I can work with this. Trying to get n alone, it's in the problem through this division, so I can multiply both sides by n. Again, I'm doing this so that I can reduce and try and get c alone. We now have Pn equals r minus c. And since this is multiplication, the commutative property says multiplying either way is the same thing. I still need to get c alone. There's one more thing with it, r. I said 2 to begin with because I'm looking at the subtraction sign and I know that can't stay. So I'm going to add a negative r to both sides of the equation. That will leave me with Pn minus r is equal to a minus c. Since c is not alone yet because of this negative sign sitting out in front. So I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by a negative 1. Now remember, this is the distributive property. We have multiplying on the outside and adding in the inside. Subtraction is the same as adding the opposite. So that gives me a negative Pn plus r equals c. And typically when you look in the back of the book for answers, you're going to see r subtract Pn equals c. They tend to start with positive things, and this is less writing. I didn't have to write 2 symbols, I only had to write 1.